Hey YouTube, what's up? Welcome to a new video. In today's video, I'm gonna fulfill a request that I got in my Instagram DMs. Shouts out Lauren, OG. I was asked to do a tutorial for makeup in hot weather. I think a lot of parts of the world are going through a heat wave right now, especially places like the UK that aren't used to this kind of hot weather. It's really hot in Toronto. We're at 30 degrees and sunny today. We have a lot of humidity here. I'm a little bit more used to it because it's like this every summer. So there's gonna be lots of different ideas about how to do this. A lot of people are gonna tell you to pack on the powder, bake your entire face with powder, use powder products, all that type of thing. Powder products are gonna make your face look dry. If you like your makeup to look fresh and dewy and glowy, this is gonna be a way to have a fresh, natural, glowing makeup look in hot weather. So my theory when it comes to this is to work with the heat instead of against it. This look is also gonna be for like an everyday kind of makeup. If you guys want another tutorial for like full on glam, more like clubbing style makeup that's really good for the hot weather, leave me a comment down below and I will make a video like that as well. But this is gonna be for like everyday makeup that you can wear sort of throughout the day if you have to go to work or if you're going to the park with your girlfriends or the beach or whatever and you want your makeup to look fresh and glowy and hydrated, but also work well for the heat, then that's what this video is gonna be for. Okay, so we still wanna moisturize our skin. If your skin feels dry or dehydrated, it's gonna start to overproduce oil in order to combat that. So we wanna start off with our skin feeling really nice and fresh and hydrated so it doesn't feel the need to produce any excess oil. So I am gonna go in with a little bit of my Charlotte Tilbury Magic Cream. Charlotte just came out with a light version of this cream that also has an SPF in it, which sounds really nice. I have never found this cream to be too heavy, but if you have found Magic Cream a little bit too heavy in the past, you might really enjoy the lightweight version. And the Magic Cream Light might also be better for you if you are more oily skinned and you're trying to wear makeup in the summer. Something like that might work a little bit better, but I don't have any issues with the regular Magic Cream. I love it and I haven't tried the new one yet, so I wouldn't like really be able to recommend it to you guys, but it's an option out there if you're willing to give it a try. You can read reviews on her website. And then you do not want to forget your sunscreen. If you're gonna be outside in the sun all day, pop on a little bit of sunscreen. The one that I've been enjoying lately is from Shiseido and it works well underneath makeup too. So the trick to heat-proof makeup is layering, and that sounds a little bit counterintuitive. We're gonna layer in a smart way. So this is not something that I use on a regular basis. I've had this tube of primer for a really long time and it's finally starting to like get a dent in it. But if you're looking for your makeup to be long wear or you have more oily skin, a primer like this is gonna work really nicely. This is the Makeup Forever Step 1 Equalizer Primer and it is the mattifying version of the primer. What you wanna do with a mattifying primer, it's not something that you wanna put all over your face. You just wanna put mattifying primer in the areas where you typically would get the most oily. So for me, that is my nose for sure. My nose gets oily even when it's dry as outside. I'm not wiping because if I try to wipe, it's gonna kind of ball up on my face. I wanna just really press that into my skin and make sure it's going right down into my pores. A lot of people might also get oily through their T-zone, so in their forehead and on their chin. I used to have more oily skin, but I'm verging more onto normal these days, so I'm just gonna do my nose. But take your mattifying primer and just really press it into the areas where you get oily and don't use it all over the face. Okay, so here's I think where my advice would differ from a lot of other people's advice. A lot of people at this point are gonna tell you to go in with a matte foundation because you would think that the matte foundation is going to help prevent oil and absorb oil from showing up on your skin if it's really hot out. A long wear matte foundation is typically going to be quite full coverage. If you're wearing a full coverage foundation and you start to sweat and that foundation starts to come off of your face, it's gonna be really obvious that your foundation isn't there anymore because you're gonna have full coverage all over, and then in the areas where you're sweating or you've touched your face, that foundation's gonna lift away and it's gonna be super obvious that there's no foundation there anymore. You'll have redness poking through or your discoloration or whatever it is will be showing through. Your natural skin will be much more obviously showing through from underneath the foundation. So this is where I say work with the heat instead of against it. Instead of fighting against the heat by using a super matte, super long wear foundation, I actually prefer to go in with a more glowy, natural foundation where if it's gonna start wearing off throughout the day as I'm sweating, if the oils are gonna start coming through, it's gonna look natural. It's gonna look like I meant for it to be that way. And as it starts to wear off, it's not gonna be as obvious that your makeup is wearing off throughout the day. So my favorite foundation for summer hot wear weather is the Charlotte Tilbury Light Wonder foundation. This is the foundation that I use in my kit. I use this on brides who need their makeup to look its best throughout the day, throughout the night. It is a light to medium coverage foundation with a dewy finish, so it's gonna look super natural on the skin, and it's gonna do what I just mentioned, which is fade off in a way that looks natural. And because it's already dewy, if you do have a little bit of oil or sweat come through, it's gonna look like it was meant to be there. It's gonna look like it was part of the foundation. It's gonna look like it's just natural skin, as opposed to like oil and sweat seeping through a more full coverage, really matte foundation. So I'm quite sure that this is empty. I think I'm just holding on to this bottle to do, oh no, I have a little bit left. So the shade I have in my Light Wonder foundation is a little bit light for me. So I'm just gonna take a little bit of Charlotte Tilbury Magic Foundation and just add a little bit of that in too. That's just for color. But Magic Foundation is a medium demi matte finish, and so that would work for this as well. I do really love the Light Wonder foundation for the hot summer months. I'm gonna go ahead with my beauty blender and just blend that in. Okay, and then after I apply my foundation, what I'm gonna do is go in with a little bit of my Urban Decay All Nighter Setting Spray. This is my favorite setting spray for long wear. I notice such a difference when I use this product. I'm just gonna take a little bit of this and just spray that right on top of my foundation and just kind of really lightly dab it in with my sponge. And I'm gonna use that spray as a way to set the foundation without using powder. Because again, I don't want to cover my face in powder and look cakey and heavy. Of course, if you layer on the powder, it's gonna help absorb oil and it's gonna help keep you matte throughout the day, but it's also not gonna look great. Covering your entire face with a heavy layer of powder is not flattering for most people unless you have super, super oily skin and you're using a really finely milled powder. That can work. But for most people, if you have dry, normal, combo skin, you don't wanna be covering your face in a huge, heavy layer of powder. Instead of using powder to set my face, I'm using the Urban Decay setting spray. So next what I'm gonna do is just go in with a little bit of concealer. I'm gonna take my Too Faced Multi-Use Sculpted Concealer. I really like this. It's really nice and long wearing. And I'm just gonna use this to conceal under my eyes. Because I used a light coverage foundation, I'm also gonna use this just to spot conceal a little bit because the light coverage foundation is not going to cover all of the sort of like acne and discoloration that I have. All right, so I'm gonna set my concealer with a little bit of powder. I want that concealer to really hold on, and because it's a little bit thicker than the foundation, I do like to set it with a little bit of powder. I'm just gonna use my Charlotte Tilbury Genius Magic Powder. Loose powder is gonna work best for this. I'm gonna stick my damp sponge in there, and I'm going to apply a pretty good amount of powder just to my under eye area here. I'm also gonna do this on my nose. I did mention before that my nose is where I get the most oil coming through. And I'm gonna put a little bit more just on this little breakout that I have down here. The area where you have a breakout is where you're gonna notice your foundation first wearing off. And I might take a little bit of this and just add it right to the center of my forehead right here. Okay, so you don't have to leave that powder there for too long. I'm just gonna take a brush and just brush that all out. And I'm gonna take my setting spray one more time now that I have my concealer and my powder on, and I'm just gonna give myself a couple more little spritz. And our base is done. We can move on with our complexion products. So again, we're going back to layering. In order to have a nice long wear, more natural daytime looking makeup, I'm gonna use a cream bronzer and then set it with a powder bronzer on top. This is the Charlotte Tilbury Beauty Light wand in the shade light to medium. And I'm gonna take a little bit of my cream bronzer and I'm just gonna put it here in my contour area, a little bit on my forehead. I'm gonna add a little bit to the sides of my nose. And let's do a little bit under my jaw as well. I'm gonna go ahead with my Hollywood complexion brush and just buff that in. And I'm gonna press that cream product into my skin as opposed to wiping it because I don't wanna wipe away all of the coverage underneath. So we're just tap, tap, tapping, pressing that product into the skin. Now that I've done my cream bronzer, I'm gonna go in with a little bit of cream blush. So this is Lovey Dovey by Isabella. I'm just gonna dip my brush right into the blush and then back onto the back of my hand to make sure I don't have too much product on there. And then I'm just going to press that into the apples of my cheeks and kind of bring it back in and mix it up with that bronzer. And then I'm gonna skip cream highlight because cream lights are a little bit more intense. They can have a more sort of greasy look to them, which typically I love, but when it's 30 degrees outside and you're sweating, your natural sweat and your natural oils are gonna give that look of a cream highlighter. So we're gonna skip the cream highlighting. So now that we're finished with our cream products, I'm gonna go ahead with a little bit of powder on top. Putting the cream underneath gives your powder product something to stick to, which is gonna help make things last a little bit longer for you. If you don't want to do both steps, if you don't want to do a cream base and then a powder product over top, I would recommend just doing the creams, because the whole theme of this video is working with your skin, working with the heat, and the cream products are going to just blend into the skin and fade more naturally than a powder product will. I, however, am going to take a little bit of powder bronzer. You don't need maybe as much as you might otherwise, because you do have that cream product underneath. And I'm just gonna use the powder bronzer just to set the cream underneath in place and just kind of intensify it a little bit, add another dimension. Okay, and then I'm gonna do the same thing with the blush. I'm gonna take a powder blush and really lightly dip into it. This is Love Glow by Charlotte Tilbury, and just set that cream blush down. Okay, so complexion is done. Let's do a little bit of eyebrows. So ideally for brows in super hot weather, you're not going to want to use a powder. Powder is going to just slip right off your face as soon as you start sweating. So what I like to use is a pencil. This is a nice waxy formula, the Charlotte Tilbury Brow Lift. A product like the Anastasia Dip Brow or the Benefit Ka-Brow, I think it's called, where it's a pomade. Those work really nicely for hot weather too. So if you find you're using a pencil and your brows aren't staying in place, maybe try one of the pomades, but I never have any issues with this in the hot weather. I also use these in my makeup kit. So I'm just gonna really lightly fill in my brows with this pencil. My eyebrows are a mess right now, quarantine life. Okay, and we're still layering with our brow products. I'm gonna go in with a brow gel now. I have this Charlotte Tilbury Brow Lift. There are brands that make waterproof eyebrow gels. So again, if you have problems with your brow gel staying in place, you can try a waterproof one, but I don't have any issues with my eyebrows no matter how long I'm wearing them for. They always stay with these two products. And then let's move on to eyes. So one thing that's going to be super important with your eye makeup is using a eyeshadow primer. So there are a few that I really love. The one that I'm going to use is from Laura Mercier. The other one I really like is Trish McAvoy. I love that eyeshadow primer. Eyeshadow primer is going to do two things. Number one, it's going to help preventing the oil on your eyelids from messing with your eyeshadow. Number two, it gives that eyeshadow something to actually stick down onto. So it just creates that nice barrier, and it's gonna really, really help your eyeshadow stay in place. I'm just gonna blend that out with my finger. All right, so my tip for eyes is to avoid putting anything on your lower lash line if you don't have to. If you're getting married outside, if you are doing a photo shoot, anything like that, you're gonna wanna still put makeup on your lower lash line because it's going to look best in your pictures. It's gonna complete your look. So I would say, like, if your makeup artist is using eyeshadow or eyeliner underneath your eye and it's for a super hot weather situation, trust them. There's a reason that we do that. But if you're doing like everyday, day-to-day kind of makeup and it's not for any kind of special occasion, then I would say avoid putting too much underneath your eye because you can get a little bit of smudging and transferring happening under there. Just the nature of that area of your face is going to be a little bit more smudgy. So what I would say is, yeah, if you're not doing any kind of special event makeup, then avoid that. If you are doing special event makeup, then again, like For me, when I'm doing wedding makeup for people who are getting married outside in the hot summer weather and I put makeup under there, I make it look smoky on purpose. I don't try to make anything look super neat, because if you try to make it look super neat, it's just gonna end up looking smudgy. So I will smudge it out on purpose to work with the heat instead of fight against it. That's definitely the theme of this whole video. But for today, because I'm doing more of like an everyday hot weather makeup look, I'm gonna avoid putting anything underneath my eyes. Like I said, if you guys want like a hot weather makeup look for a wedding, if you guys want a like more full glam hot weather makeup look, because the steps will be a little bit different, the products that I would use would be different, then definitely leave me a comment down below. I would love to make that for you if anybody's interested in that. I'm just gonna keep this simple. I'm just gonna throw an eyeshadow all over my lid from my Natasha Denona palette, something brown. I'm just gonna take this color right here from my Natasha Denona palette and just throw that all over my lid. You can do whatever kind of eye look you want, whatever suits your eye or whatever kind of eye look you like to do. It's not gonna matter that it's hot out. Just go ahead and do your eye makeup, the style or the colors of your eye makeup, however you like. And then I'm just gonna take a darker brown and just add it to the outer corner. My eyeshadow is not really the point of this video, so I'm just trying to do something quick. And then when it comes to liner, again, we are layering. So what I'm gonna do first is take a waterproof kohl liner. This is the Charlotte Tilbury Walk-in Kohl in the color Bedroom Black. And I'm just gonna smudge that into my top lash line. And then I'm gonna take a black eyeshadow. And you can do this on a pencil brush, you can do this on a definer brush like the one I'm gonna use right here. And I'm just gonna take a black shadow and just layer it over top of that kohl. And so this is kind of the same trick that we did with our contour and our blush. We put that cream product down first so that the powder product has something to stick to, and the powder product also helps set that cream product. So the two are working together to really hold on to each other so that they can stay in place for as long as possible. Like I said with the lower lash line, if I were to do a lower lash line, I would do more of like a smoky, smudgy kind of vibe, because we're gonna end up there anyways. And so I'm gonna do that with this liner on top as well. After I set it down with my definer brush, I'm just gonna take my little pencil brush and just really smoke that out. Okay, when it comes to mascara, if you have issues with your mascara transferring, whether that's on the bottom or the top throughout the day, if you get hot or sweaty or even just on the regular, use a waterproof mascara. Your mascara won't transfer if you do that. I don't have issues with my mascara transferring, so I am just gonna go in with my Charlotte Tilbury Full Fat Lashes mascara, and I'm going to just coat my lashes on the top after I give them a little curl here. And then I'm gonna throw on a pair of falsies and we'll come back and finish everything off. Okay guys, lashes are on, so now we're just gonna finish off the face. And all we need to finish the face is a little bit of highlighter. So like I mentioned before when I was talking about cream highlighters, your skin is naturally going to look more glowy, more hydrated, more fresh, more highlighted if you're in a hot weather climate. So because we've used more of a glowy foundation, because we've used cream blush and cream bronzer, we have a lot of natural glow happening on our skin already. So we don't need a super intense, really blinding highlight. So I would recommend just using a really natural looking highlighter and really being quite specific about the areas where you place it. I'm gonna take the Charlotte Tilbury highlighter from the Film Star Bronze and Glow palette. This is one of my more natural highlights. And I'm just gonna add this right to the top of my cheekbone right here and just kind of blend it out. And then I am gonna highlight just the inner corner of my eyes as well. And that's it. You guys know me, I love highlighter. Normally I would add it to like the bridge of my nose, Cupid's bow, forehead. But for super hot weather makeup that you want to last, too much highlighter is gonna be a downfall for you. You're just adding more glow on top of glow that Mother Nature is just gonna give you anyways. So unless you have super dry skin and you don't have like any natural oil that comes throughout the day, which is like very rare for most people, especially because if you typically have super dry skin, your skin's gonna start to naturally be producing a lot of oil throughout the day to try and hydrate you. I would just avoid adding too much highlighter, just a little bit to the top of the cheekbones, a little bit on the inner corner of the eye, and then just leave it at that. Let's talk about lips. Our lips don't really get greasy throughout the day, guys. We don't really have to worry about using anything particularly long wearing. So I would say just go ahead and use your favorite lip product, whether that be a gloss, a bullet lipstick, a liquid lipstick. Liquid lipstick is obviously going to be the most long wearing product. So if you're here because you're looking for long wear products, go with a liquid lipstick. But you can really go ahead with anything you want. Why don't I do like a nice kind of fun summery color? So this is Miranda May from Charlotte Tilbury. It is a matte lipstick, and I'm just gonna add a little bit of this guy. I'm just gonna really rub it in with my lips. And then I'm just gonna take a little bit of lip liner. This is Pink Venus from Charlotte Tilbury, and I'm just gonna add a little bit of that because I've been wearing my lip liner for so long now that when I don't reshape my lips, they don't even look like my lips anymore. You know what I mean? Like I'm so used to them with makeup on that when they don't have makeup on and like when they're not overdrawn, they just like don't look like my lips. And then for the final step in our routine, I'm gonna take my setting spray one more time. Set all of that makeup down. And just with the setting spray, I just want to point out that not all setting sprays are the same. Some setting sprays, just like primers, are designed to do different things. So you want a long wear setting spray. Lots of setting sprays are out there that add glow to the skin. A setting spray like that is going to hinder you in hot weather more than help you. Just go for this one, it's my favorite. Okay guys, that's it. Those are my tips and tricks for wearing a natural, everyday style of makeup in super hot, humid, sweaty ass weather. Thank you, Lauren, for suggesting this video, and thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to give the video a thumbs up so that more people can see it too. You can subscribe to my channel down below so you don't miss the videos that I have coming up next, and I will see you in my next video. Bye guys.